Hello and welcome to a brand new Unsourced. Well, my name is Elvis, and I'm welcome back here again with another horror franchise. And I'm joining again with my great two co-hosts, Tony and Doug, as we take a step into the Children of the Corn franchise. We're heading right into the cornfield. We're harnessing corn power. I mean, we're doing all of this. And for what reason? I don't know. I don't know. But
We got to find Matt Damon in space, right? Like that's
yeah.
what I think Gord's for.
Oh my. All right, so we're heading into it right now, and we are going to be looking at, um, let's see here, the first film in this series, 1984. Well, let's do the round table. Let's go around the table here, talk about our kind of familiarity of the franchise and our initial thoughts of this first movie. Tony, why don't you take us ahead?
Yeah, so I've definitely brought this up on this pod before, but I'm a big fan of Stephen King adaptations, whether they be in miniseries form or in the theatrical space. I just enjoy watching them because there's a usual stink to them, whether it be from an auteur who's putting their like own stamp on the project, or it's something that's like made with the smallest of budget with the most obscure of filmmakers. There's always some kind of charm and the spark of an idea, and I like seeing how that idea can kind of fail or not fail. Now, for me, with Children of the Corn, I probably watched the series back in like, I want to say like 2011, 2013, maybe, because a podcast I like called Now Playing Podcast, they covered all of the Children of the Corn movies, and I watched them at the same time as them. And when I did that, I was just like, this sucks, you know. And as we'll I'm sure we'll talk about with this movie, they're very forgettable. So they haven't really stuck with me. But I see this as an opportunity for us not only to enjoy this franchise, but I also feel like this franchise lasting as long as it has and being so unremarkable, it kind of also can act as like the text of the horror series that's lasted too long, like all of the other ones, right? Like Critters or whatever you could think of. I feel like there's a certain level of some kind of prestige mixed with low rent sensibilities that this one just catches all of those sensibilities together. So I'm interested to go through this whole series like that, but I'm also a little terrified.
I mean, how dare you? Critters lasted just long enough until streaming decided to ruin it. Four and done. We rewind everything. They shot Terrence Manning in the face. It's amazing. Um, Doug, how about you take a whirl?
Yeah, well, I'm also a fan of King adaptations, but I have a lot of blind spots, and I like culturally had absorbed stuff from like cultural osmosis of Children of Corn, mostly like through parodies. Like anytime there's like like creepy kids, if it's not referencing like the twins from The Shining, it's usually like a Children of the Corn like riff of some kind. And so like I knew of that, and then I also like did a short in college where someone just ad-libbed, "We have your woman, Outlander," and I was like, "What is that from?" And they're like, "Yeah, I think that's Children of the Corn." So I had those were the things I carried in my mind about Children of Corn, but I'd never like actually seen any of them, not even the original. So going back, yeah, it was interesting because there's a lot of stuff that I just did not know about this, other than that there were children and corn, and it definitely has both of those. I'll say that for this.
So I'm gonna be an odd man now. I'm as underwhelmed by this movie as I think most of us are here. So I'm not gonna be bucking against this trend like I usually do. But this is kind of I was kind of family favorite, around Halloween over the years. I've seen this a bunch of times. This first one, a bunch of times as a kid. Never was on. Always renting. It was a guaranteed crowd pleaser. Now I don't know. Maybe the late '90s or 2000s before 9/11 was just more boring. I don't know.
That is true. I don't think you're wrong there.
Like
It was the end of history. There was nothing
uh,
going on.
exactly. Everyone was just kind of like, oh wow, they're walking and everything is kind of empty and creepy. That's enough to carry a movie, apparently. So this was one that I always really enjoyed. Watching it now, I cannot. I can't. I'd only seen this one, and then the second one. Second one I think is way worse. We'll get to that next week if we survive this one. And yeah, parodies. South Park, I think, has like the best adaptation of Children of the Corn of all time. It's just really good. and this is not. So I think kudos to South Park for that one episode where Carmen's doing the Outlander bit too. It's great.
I'm kind of surprised that that Outlander line has become kind of an iconic quote. Like it's definitely been said, like outside of the context of this movie. And really, the only reason why you would remember it after seeing this film is because of the guy who played Malachi's performance. Like it just seems like it's because it was catchy. And then something that just to speak to what you're saying there, Elvis, about this kind of being like almost a family friendly film, I could totally see it being such an easy thing to throw on within a household because all of the gory stuff happens in the first 5 minutes, and the rest of the movie is just kind of people wandering around, right? So, and also the added X factor of kids being around and being in charge of the plot. I could totally see this being a film that was advantageous or exciting for a child of the 80s to watch. The kids are in control. There's a Lord of the Flies element.
Yes, it's kind of like evil Goonies in a way.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
But not as cool as that sounds or as fun as that sounds. But yeah,
no Cyndi Lauper.
That's kind of the vibe I had with it. We're like, okay, I like seeing all these kids. It's like this kind of weird adventure. And I kind of wish it was more of that watching it now, because as an adult, the adult stuff really sucks. I think it drags it down. So
and it takes up so much of it, because I was like watching the like time code, and it was like they don't even get into town.
It's like the 30-minute, 40-minute mark.
Right.
45 minutes. 45
like,
minutes.
Why didn't we start here with them, or start with them meeting the sister and she says all the adults are in the corner? Like that's the moment you want to get to, and we linger so long.
Like pick one lane. Pick the kids' POV or pick the adults' POV, man.
This is a perfect time for us to talk about like the behind the scenes of this film, right? Like because this movie is kind of infamous for being like one of the things that kind of ruined Stephen King's adaptation. Like essentially after this movie, he became known as difficult, right? And and now that I'm kind of like coming back to this movie and reanalyzing the situation, like I feel like Stephen King was in the right, because originally what happened was that they went to a studio, I forget which one, they got $2 million to like pitch his script, and the studio didn't like his script, so they turned it down. But when New World Pictures picked it up, they decided that they were going to get somebody else to rewrite it, like George Goldsmith or something, I think his name. And Stephen King hated it because his script originally was just 30 minutes with Linda Hamilton and her boyfriend in the car, and you didn't see any of the stuff with the children. And then they experienced that kind of in real time. And what the major thing with this film, the change in the screenplay, is they put all of the exposition up front. And what I think it does is it actually makes it so there's no mystery. Like we know what's going on, like right at the beginning of the film. So,
and like it's not even a good way. The narration I want to talk off the bat is it's not even consistent. It disappears like really quickly, and it doesn't do anything. It's the worst kind of narration. It's the adaptation narration joke. We're like, why the hell are we hearing this when we're seeing it as it's happening? And the context is in front of us. In fact, removing narration, you're right, which wouldn't solve the dramatic irony of it all, right? But it would help, like, oh, like there's teens, you don't know what they're doing. Some weird little kid in like a farmer outfit walks in the window view, and then they all start killing him. You don't know, but you have this little tween voice going, but then there was like, oh, Malachi, he was a mean bully to me. Like, what the fuck?
And it's weird because Job's not even really the main character. So like to have his narration makes you think like, okay, so he's going to be our eyes on the ground for this happening. Not really.
Job should have died. He should have been the one that got killed. Why is there a second kid who is also a rebel?
Well, the reason that you guys are brushing up against Job so much is because Job was not originally in the short story. It was
he wasn't.
A created character, and so was Sarah. And the problem with these characters is that they need to be vehicles in order for the audience to understand why these kids are doing that. But again, like I'm saying, we see them kill their parents up front. So we know like that they're being compelled to do this. And then we know that there's a religious component to it as well. So the rest of the film, we're just waiting for Linda Hamilton and her boyfriend to understand that. And the problem is that if we were to have been with them along for that journey, then it would have been a surprise for us to learn that, right? But now instead, it's just like we're waiting for the inevitable. And to round out the whole thought, right? So when New World Pictures picked up this film, and they gave it the budget. So they were aiming for $2 million. They got 1.3. Stephen King was so salty about his screenplay not being used, he charged a $500,000 licensing fee, meaning that the entire budget of this film is only $800,000.
Whoa! Wow.
You know what? I respect it because
Yeah.
like, oh my god, this is so bad. But also, what I don't like about the narration is that it's not even like they could have. The entire time listening to it, I'm like, Shogun Assassin. You know, that's creepy. That's eerie. It makes for a good opening to a rap song, and this is just not. It's like this could have been that, but it's like it also tries to be funny because when you get the other scene of narration, he's like, "But I wasn't scared," and then he cuts to him saying, "But I'm scared." Guy who's gonna get killed 5 seconds from now. Why are we having why? What is the purpose?
I mean, if he was our main character, giving him like contradictions like that could be interesting, but we don't. There's no interiority to him actually, so that's just like it's just a throw off joke because like I don't know
Who cares about him.
Yeah.
Another big thing that needs to be called out is that while the screenplay that they got from this new guy had its own problems, right? A lot of what they had planned to shoot, they didn't actually shoot. And then when they got to the editing room, they were forced to cut out a lot. So like obviously this movie is an hour and 30 minutes. And even then it feels like it ends like out of nowhere.
That's the funniest part.
Right? So like if you look into like what was supposed to be in this movie, it was supposed to be a lot more violent. There was supposed to be more deaths, and then there was also like a lot more disturbing elements. Like I don't even know how much we want to talk about that until later or whatever. But it's like they clearly wanted to go a lot darker with this. They clearly wanted to amp up the horror, but instead what ended up happening was they really relied on the politics of it all. And this is the last note I'll have about the behind the scenes of the screenplay specifically. Apparently Goldsmith, he said that he was inspired by the Iranian Revolution in the 70s and said that like the Children of the Corn were a representation of Gulamani's religious extremist regime.
Which I think is kids on a merry-go-round saying gal before the revolution.
It's insane with that context, right? Like it's just
I can see it.
And it also like it feels like it's talking about religious extremism in such like a blatant,
the guy's
uncomplicated way, you know?
Yeah. You guys are listening to all these religious wackadoos and you believe it, don't you? But there's no evil religious god in front, and then the demon's real. So this guy was maybe Khomeini had a point. Okay, what's the analogy then?
Yeah, their magic is real. The only thing they got wrong is that like they're talking about like it's God when it's like a devil or demon or something.
But still, it's still there.
Yeah. I also just read that like the producers offered this to Sam Raimi, which is interesting, and that like he passed because they weren't gonna give him enough prep time because they were just like they had to shoot it. They had lax child labor laws in Iowa where they were shooting. They're just like we gotta go, and yeah, he was
had
like
5 weeks.
Yeah, he's like, that's not enough time passed. But I was thinking about Evil Dead 3. One, their car does look like his Oldsmobile a little bit.
Yes,
so
that's true.
And then there's parts where like the corn is like grabbing him, so like the vegetation becoming alive and stuff, and just like it having a physical form that they have to like fight at the end kind of felt Evil Dead-y.
But Bert, played by Bruce Campbell, that's what saved the movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
This guy's wet blanket.
They're both boring. I
would have believed him fighting Malachi at the end, right? Because like you have to have that slap fight, and it just looks so like pathetic and like feels in poor taste. I feel like if you put Bruce Campbell in a situation where he has to fight a teenager, it becomes amazing.
He just punches those kids in the face. It's so that's one of the better parts when he just punches these kids in the face.
And we brought up Sam Raimi also directing this movie, and now this activates my trap card, right? Because after they went to Sam Raimi, They went to another filmmaker to direct this film. And the reason this activates my trap card is because the person they went to direct this movie was perfect. It was Tommy Lee Wallace, the director of Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. This movie is a carbon copy of this. Like this movie is copying Halloween 3: Season of the Witch in my eyes. This is like a way worse, poorly told version of that, with like all of the charm, all of the mystique from that film
less
just gone.
evil Irish, yeah. But
come on, if they were Irish Catholics in this movie would have been an easy 5 stars.
You know what? Yeah. I'm going to agree with you. It's the entire Santamira segment all over again. Including that one guy who's like, I don't know nothing, who gets murdered for no reason. And wait a minute, Malachi is a ginger, so
hey, you're right.
Tom Atkins also would have been more interesting.
Yes,
still making it with Linda Hamilton
because he's like a piece of shit in Halloween. He's not a good guy.
Who is this guy?
That makes it more interesting. Like this guy kind of sucks, but in a boring way. Where I'm kind of like when Linda Hamilton's on top of him, I'm like, get away.
He was married to Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm looking at this Peter Horton guy who plays Bert. Who keep talking about who'd be better than him. Look at the Wikipedia page. It says married Michelle Pfeiffer, 1981 to 1988. Good for him.
Oh, wow, 7 years. He's good. He's a good communicator. You know, and clearly
he played himself in the Naked Brothers band, the movie. He played himself. What?
He was a get. He was like their celebrity star.
What's the point?
On the note of this being kind of close to Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, like let's compare the first 30 minutes of both films for a second, right? Because we get like that moment where the security guard is going after people and then they get into a car and blow themselves up. And that's the only mystical thing we see until like they enter that town, right? Like they know that you need a cold open, and then they know that you need to draw out the mystery, and then you need to reveal what's going on. And what Children of the Corn did instead was like, here's this great like mass casualty event like set piece that's really genuinely horrifying in how it's executed. It's the best scene of the movie, but it robs the rest of the film from any kind of agency because the central threat was the thing that carried it out. You can't like, except for He Who Walks Behind the Rose, but we'll talk about that later.
Like, unless you're going to make it like a character piece about the children, like from then on, that scene has no point being there where it is. Because then we go to like, okay, but that's when Sarah decided to draw her drawings, and those have no purpose at all in the movie whatsoever. And not even scary drawings. Like, Isaac kicks an old man in the butt, and that's it. And it's like, then that's over. We see 3 drawings, and then we were up to like middle-aged people talking about getting their PhDs.
I like that one shot when there is the massacre and you get the push in on Isaac's face. Yes. And then you get that matched push in from like from an eagle eye position, like top down, zooms in on Sarah drawing a crayon, that match cut that they do between those two motions. It promises a more exciting film. It promises something that's going to have something that's got a bit more tact to it. And it's a shame that the rest of the film just can never have that same kind of energy.
Like she draws like these prophetic drawing pictures. They're not creepy, and also they're not important because everything that isn't have happened already. Like, she draws about a motel, but like they're already at the motel, and
it's after we've seen the stuff. It's just like the opening where it's like robbing any tension, where it's like, okay, so this isn't like presaging anything.
And they figured out she's drawing the adults, but they find out about the adults before they even find out she's psychic. So
it's the same problem that we keep running around, because these Crayon's initial purpose in the initial script was to be exposition that Linda Hamilton and her boyfriend appear upon, right? So the fact that we are seeing these events as they're happening now robs that moment of exposition from having any kind of dramatic weight, and it speaks to the inexperience of the people who are making this thing, who are making these decisions, because the director is a guy who made commercials, and the screenwriter, if you look at his resume, it's rather barren, but somehow they managed to make a very successful film.
It was very successful. It's insane. But okay, let's go look here. Okay, we got the opening scene. We already talked about how that's the only good scene in the movie. It's creepy. You have Malachi in there who doesn't talk, so he's at his best. that when he doesn't talk, he's very intense. He's got a lot of glares. He got a lot of physicality. He's pretty good. And let's see here, and just the brutality of the deaths here, the kids killing these adults, very creepy. Not so creepy drawings, and we have Linda Hamilton and Peter Horton, Bert and Vicky. I think it's
Yeah.
Vicky.
Before we move
This
on,
is the same year as Terminator.
that's
Okay.
insane.
Amazing. But,
Before we move on, I just wanted to say two things just on the Malachi and the violence. Malachi, you're totally right. He's got that Caleb Landry Jones energy, but he's also bad at speaking, which is fine.
He's such a teenager. He's he has very teenage
Yeah.
voice. He's got millennial iPhone voice. Okay.
He does the 80s equivalent of that for sure.
Yeah.
That he's playing NES when he goes home.
Exactly.
And then the idea of the violence, you can really feel the editing cutting around the violence. You can tell that they filmed something a little more violent. And I wish that we saw that, there are some brutal neck slits and people being attacked on the ground. If it was given a bit more time to breathe, I feel like this opening would be even better than it is. I didn't mean to hold it up too much.
No, I agree. That should have been, if they're going to go for it, they should have gone for it harder, because nothing else happens. It's even on that level at all. And so let's see here. So we're talking about the short story for a little bit. In the short story, Bert and Vicky are on the brink of divorce, which is part of I'm not sure what Stephen King was kind of working through at that time, but they're on a brink of divorce. So they're bickering. They kind of hate each other. And then we have Bert and Vicky in this movie, and they're in love, and they're starting a new chapter of their lives. Their careers are maybe going upward. They're in the prime of their lives. So I don't know what is more exciting, but I would rather them be bickering and hating each other, because they're not. They don't have chemistry. So them trying to be they're in love and cute, it makes it even more boring to me. Why is Little Hamilton doing this?
The only time where I felt a little endeared to them is when they turn on the radio in The Preacher, and mostly that Lyndall Hamilton is mostly carrying that, because he's not doing much.
He's not giving her anything.
Yeah. She's doing all the bits, and he's just kind of the boring boyfriend who's yeah, I guess I'll join in at the end.
I'll smile.
And he's just thinking about Melanie Griffith. He's just thinking about going home.
Michelle Pfeiffer, damn you.
No, Michelle. Oh, it's Michelle Pfeiffer. I mixed up the M's. I'm sorry.
Both really tall blonde people. What kind of God would allow that?
Insanely beautiful people. But Linda Hamilton, she's doing a lot, but she doesn't add much to the film because she has nothing to do, right?
No, there's no right. They're meant to be cuter, so there's not they're very static. So static.
And also these two characters, they're the audience surrogate characters, but because we are front loaded all of the exposition with the children,
we're way ahead of them.
We're way ahead of them, A, and then B, as an audience, we actually feel more immediacy with the children because the children are already active members of this plot. And for these people, they kind of jump onto the train.
They're anchors.
I wouldn't even say they're anchors. They join in, but then they don't really contribute as much. Everything is still happening around them, and the danger happens to them because of their adulthood. It's very strange. It makes it so the audience is always viewing it from the perspectives of the kids first, which I think is the mistake here.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there should be a creeping tension where, because if you are gonna front load it, then you know the stakes of oh, these adults coming into this community, this is a death sentence. This is really bad for them. But the vibe, I mean, the stakes never feel great that high, and I'm not just worried or tense during any of it because it kind of just has hangout movie vibes. They're just driving most of the movie.
Yeah, you're right, because you're right. It should be a disruptive thing, but there's a couple things here. That one, as you mentioned before, they don't get to the town for a long time, so there's no way for them to have an impact that has a little rippling effect that creates tension, that creates drama. There's no time for any of that. And two, Isaac and Malachi don't really feel like they're that important. Two adults will kill him, and so there's no tension. There's no rising kind of dread. They don't know what's happening. They're just walking around with a care in the world, more or less. And Isaac and Malachi don't really think that they're big of a deal anyway. So none of them have any kind of ramping up. There's no ramping up at either end.
I would push back slightly in the sense that you can feel that they're trying to create a sense of political intrigue in infighting within these kids,
Yes,
and I'm
that's a
bringing
different
this
thing
up
entirely,
because
though.
yes, but like when we're getting these scenes of Linda Hamilton in the car early on, we're also cutting back to the town, and we have like that scene of like Sarah and Joe playing Monopoly before they're interrupted by Malachi, and we're constantly cutting back to the town to get these updates on like the politics of and the like operations of these children as the runners
Yes,
of this town, right?
yes.
There's a kernel of an idea because there's this concept of Malachi being like the brute force, like the military, and Isaac being like the theological fascist dictator, right? And
Like much
it's
like
try-
Iran, you know.
Yeah.
unfortunately, we're we have to make that parallel. But that hey, that makes Children of the Corn relevant. Damn it.
But that part's not fleshed out enough at all to
Yeah.
be interesting, because I feel like you don't really see anything come from that until the very end, to the point where I was a little thrown off of like, oh well, so when this movie starts, Isaac's leadership is already kind of waning, but we don't see like what led to that. We just kind of know that like some of these kids seem more loyal to Malachi and his interpretation of like what they're supposed to be doing, which is an interesting concept. I just like want it, like,
Yes.
then let's stay with that. Like let's like interrogate that idea.
Yeah, so that's why. So I mean, like, I totally agree with what you guys are saying, because what I was trying to say was that the impact of like the adults and kids stuff, that has no more kind of like momentum anymore. But the stuff between Malachi
Mm.
and Isaac is really interesting, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I said this before we start recording, but the best parts of this movie are kind of like your a middle school production of kids trying to do their own like put on of the Crucible or something, you know? Like there's like this
Right.
little theatrical thing where like, kid towns, that kind of stuff, where you would go around like, oh, I'm the mayor and I'm the news reporter, I'm the cop. We're all gonna kind of get together and do a little bit of play acting. Kind of feels like that, but like on a more dreadful kind of scale. And
Mhm.
I like that charm. It's charming, and I wish it was more focused on, because because it's the only thing that actually has some sort of verve to it, because you don't know what's going to happen. They kill all the town, and now you have these forces kind of like internally, struggling together, and that's kind of like you don't know anything. We don't know anything. Isaac. Isaac is unaware. Malachi has his own little machinations. So we have beforehand some of the kids like more scared of Malachi than they are of Isaac. Some of them are directly answering to Malachi rather than Isaac, and it's like, oh, there's a little interplay here. So we're not ahead of anyone at this point. It's still
Exactly.
exciting, and so again, they should have picked a lane. You got if you're gonna do all this stuff with the kids, make the kids the focus. I don't care about these adults.
And what's worse about this too is that the two best performers are Isaac and Malachi, right? Because
Mhm.
we've already talked about the intensity of Malachi's performance, but I don't think we've touched on Isaac too much. Isaac's probably the best performance in this movie. I think it's this guy.
He's very arresting, yeah, whenever he talks.
He's pretty
he's
good.
always he's doing like voice cracks whenever he's talking to, so like you can always get like the sense that he's trying to fit into shoes that he's not quite fitting, and I like that in terms of like him being this maniacal leader. And then he's wearing that sick brim hat, come on, like he's got a good look to him. I feel like when you say Children of the Corn, you don't even think about like a group of angry kids, you think about Isaac.
Yeah, was mentioned. Isaac doesn't come back until like the sixth movie, and it's very great restraint, because he is kind of like the poster boy of this. Like he kind of gets that tone. Like we've been talking about Malachi. Malachi, great intensity, great expression. He's very dominating, very kind of like direct and physical. It's all great. I think he makes some great choices with his body that
Mhm.
maybe doesn't really have it up to snuff with his line readings. And that's fine. He's like a little kid. They're all kids here. I'm not gonna judge him. But Isaac is like um he kind of gets it off the bat. All the kids should be acting like Isaac, in a perfect film. He's so
I
good.
like the interplay between Isaac and Malachi, though. The fact that Malachi is so domineering,
Mhm.
right, in his physical, dominance,
Just brute
and then
force, yeah.
pairing that with Isaac, who's all intellect. He's much shorter than everybody else. I think that there's a good contrast there. And in a better movie, they would have made that work. But instead, we're cutting away from that too much because this is when like Linda Hamilton and her boyfriend are arriving into town. That's how far we are into the movie already. We're halfway in.
Right.
And like Linda Hamilton is just, and him are doing like the stock, like, oh, where is everybody? Oh, we gotta, find the people who are in this town. And
let's say they've hit a boy in the road at this point.
We haven't even talked about that.
There's no urgency.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Okay, so so you mentioned, for some reason, there's another kid who is like also a rebel, who's not Job, who should have been Job. Job should have died. That should have been shocking. Job's dead, and they would have been like, oh my God, Job, that little kid we heard.
They should have done a casino and his narration gets interrupted. That's why you do the narration, so he can be narrating and then he just gets hit with a sickle. And it's like,
Exactly. But like, yeah, no, he's like, oh, I'm like Job, but like expendable, and I'm gonna go. And so he runs off into the cornfield, and he gets ambushed by Malachi, who slits his throat. But then he stumbles out like the guy from RoboCop into the middle of the road and gets fucking demolished by Bert and Vicky. And their reactions are tepid.
Imagine if it was like RoboCop.
That was crazy.
Imagine if it was like RoboCop, and when the kid got hit by the car, he just exploded into green goo.
He probably should have exploded because I didn't like that Bert immediately knows that he wasn't the cause of, like, I think that's fine if we know, but I wanted them to have guilt over whether they just murdered a child. So like
oh my God.
Yeah, but he immediately was like, yeah, his throat was slit. I mean he's like a doctor or whatever, so whatever, but like if the body had been more fucked up where he couldn't even tell that or something.
I think the kid would have lived. He was like stumbling into the road. They could have done something. He'd totally killed this kid. He said
the kid was already dead by the time he got to the road.
He was walking.
He certainly didn't help by hitting him.
You
could
have tried.
And what's funny too is that Bert is such a bland character because he is always in the position of the noble protagonist, right? From the screenwriter's perspective, every sequence he has to be the moral anchor that's telling everybody else how to be, separate from religion or what have you. Being a good, honest man, which is a shame because, like, speaking of what you were saying before, Elvis, with the idea of Linda Hamilton and him being on the rocks, if that was the dynamic of them coming into this, and he was kind of like, he's going back and forth and bitter, and we maybe had some moments where we don't trust him as much, right? Then it would have made all of this feel like he's overcoming something, but instead he's such a wet blanket that like this moment's supposed to be like oh my God, he just hit this kid, but because the screenwriters are so like afraid that you're not going to like him, they have to like, oh no, don't worry.
And
like Tom Atkins is like cheating on his wife. He's like boozing.
They're separated. Okay, I watched Halloween 3
true.
a billion times. Not divorced yet, but they're separated.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen them, man. I forgot the separation.
They're separated, but she clearly is okay with him and would be fine with him coming back. Like that's what the crazy thing of this. To
be fair, almost every woman in that movie wants to fuck Tom Atkins, and who can blame him?
I mean, yeah.
Who could blame him? Okay, but also, yeah, you're right, because the thing where I hate that kind of stuff in the horror movies, and I hate it in like action movies, I hate it in adventure movies, I hate it in rom-coms, where you're right, Tony, because you have to make someone like the noble one, it makes them boring, and it makes them even further unlikable.
It's
in
rom-coms to us.
Yeah, because then like if he was so noble, he would feel worse about that kid dying. But they just ride off. They stuff him into the trunk and ride off.
Exactly. They just toss his body in there, and for us, the audience, they're hoping that we're like, well, yeah, like the fucking dead bodies, they gotta throw in the car,
What else can they do?
Like, but it's like, no, like we've got a couple more brain cells than that. Like, come on, geez, Louise, that's just like like this all feels so callous. And when they drive into town, like when we get to this part, right? I felt like it was a missed opportunity where they could have had like the kids running the shops, and they could have just like pretended like it was like normal or something. And they're like, oh,
your parents.
Exactly. And they're like, oh, they're sick.
I think that's what South Park does.
I feel like maybe that's why they're better artists,
I think that is what South Park does. Where they're like play acting roles in the town. So yeah, no. Which one's the South Park episode instead?
Do they just keep the gas man alive because of his gas?
Yes, they do. Isaac says that like he gets supplies, and also we need gas. And Malcolm's like, but we have the gasohol, and he's like, that's not enough, dumbass.
Did you guys see in the credits that his name was the Strait of Harmouth?
Oh my oh my god.
Yeah.
But
Also, shout out R.J. Armstrong. He had a small part in the Robert Redford episode Twilight Zone. He shows up in that. It's really just the two characters, Death and then that old lady. But then this guy shows up as like a repairman or something.
Is
hell
that the
yeah.
guy who played the gas station attendant?
Yeah. He was in a lot of
Yes.
old TV.
Yes, I see him now. Ooh, yeah, I remember him now as a younger guy, seeing him in like all black and white stuff.
The gas man needs to be crazier, right? I feel like he's
Yes.
got to be like, ah, like he's got to be yelling. He's got to be like, you're in
His
danger.
dog dies, and he's kind of just like, I told you, whatever Spot or whatever your name is. Damn it.
Goddamn dog died. You know, like think about the homeless man in the town from Season of the Witch, because he's
Yeah.
functionally the same character pretty much, right?
Mhm.
And he's like raving mad. He's drinking malt liquor in the streets, right? And like that, no, the town doesn't care about him because he's the old man that's seemingly so, tossed aside. To make him like integral and then also kind of chill about it, like it's a bad instinct.
Yeah, no, and we don't spend enough time to care about it. We don't.
It's just a random element because I'm like, does this guy? I guess he doesn't feel bad about everyone else getting killed, or like, how does like, what's his ethos? Like, what does he think about this?
And why hasn't he gotten rid of all the signs pointing to Gatlin?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
you should be trying to isolate this place.
exactly. That's the whole point too. Like Malachi kills him because he didn't isolate it enough. But get rid of the signs. They're like, oh man, Gatlin is so much closer. They're like, just get rid of the signs.
It's just so ridiculous. I don't know what their long-term plans are too. That's what's interesting, is that we have all this political intrigue, but we don't have any kind of conversation afforded to like how is this town going to operate? Right? Like what are they going to do to make food
Because
and stuff?
once you become 19, also you're dead. So there's like a set like limit on like, are they going to repopulate before
Oh,
they turn
Doug.
19? Does that in the book?
Unfortunately, Doug, you've unfortunately activated a trap card.
That is in the short story.
That makes sense.
So one of the things that they shot for this movie was they shot girls who were pregnant, and apparently you can see some of them who are in the backgrounds and stuff. But the concept was that they're getting each other pregnant, and then at 18 they're killing each other.
Yes.
And that's how they're going to keep it all alive. And I think very rightfully so, they cut it out of the movie. I feel like that's like a step too far. But the fact that like that question is looming is already speaking to the fact that they're focusing on the wrong things,
Yeah, and it's an interesting part of the short story, because that's how the short story ends. The short story, spoilers, Isaac and his cronies win. Hooray! But he who walks behind the rose, Voldemort, is very mad that they were so annoying. So the adults. So he's like, oh, everyone, now we're lowering it to when you turn 18, you get sacrificed. And so Malachi has to say goodbye to his pregnant girlfriend, because like, oh, I'm 18, sorry. And he just goes off to get sacrificed. And his pregnant girlfriend's like, oh no, now I have no one to help raise my baby, etc. And that's where it ends.
Dark
Yeah.
stuff. And this, like, I think the word, the term that we used earlier is it needs to pick a lane, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's totally true. And I feel like this movie, almost like with what is working here, it needs to be a bit more campy, almost, right?
Yes.
Like I feel like with what they have and what they're trying to make, it needs to be a bit more cartoonish and not so seriously horror filled.
I completely agree. Because at this point, when you're still like the old man, and you really have like psychics and everything that Isaac is doing, it's gotta go for it. And it's very toothless. It's toothless in both being horrific, and it's toothless in being comedic. And it's trying to be funny because we have the jokes already. There's been jokes, just not good.
I'm gonna have all the money when I'm older. and then he lies about pass and go. It's hilarious stuff.
13,100, right? Like just stupid
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Why is there Monopoly?
Why does Linda Hamilton get captured? Like, I feel like there are several ways where she ends up in that position where I'm like, how?
I
Why?
thought they were about to make her Maid Queen. I was like, what's happening?
And they decided to let her down, so it's a waste of fucking time. It's not even like again, it's not threatening, it's not tension because it's a good visual for like 5 seconds, and then like wait, no, we're not gonna do it this way.
We
Just
get
kill
that
her.
like one moment where she's hoisted up and she's like looking across at the skeleton.
At
And
the
if we're
Blue
thinking
Man.
exactly right, but it's done pretty poorly. Like I feel like it's all during the day, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it just the filmmaking doesn't sell this creepiness of this moment. Like
Been
Pearl
dusk.
fucking the scarecrow feels more creepy than this, you know?
She's been golden hour. Okay.
Right.
It really accentuate the yellowness of the corn. But yeah, you're right. It's fucking bright ass day.
Because now I'm thinking about what you said earlier, Tony, about like how they should just be set up in the shops. Because like other folk horror stuff that's like set during the day, like say the original Wicker Man, the creepiness of that is like how casual it is.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
of how there's nothing
everyday
wrong
normalcy.
here.
Everyday normalcy.
We only get how wrong everything is. There is nothing to counterbalance that. They walk into town and it's already fucked. In Season of the Witch, right? They enter that town and like, yeah, it's kind of weird that the Irish have taken over. You know, like what are they doing? I thought they were drunks, right? But you know, the fact that they are so in charge, you know, the more you get let into that world, you start to learn that you can't trust the Irish, right? It just makes sense. With this, it's like, you know, you've got these kids, you know that kids shouldn't be running the things. It's immediately off-putting. It needs to feel more like Village of the Damned, even, you know?
Yeah, that does a way better job of feeling off, like with the kids and all that. Yeah, that's a good example.
I think some of these extras are like 40 years old. I'm scanning through the movie, and there's the part where like Isaac is giving his little sermon. There's one of the guys who's like a deep 5 o'clock shadow, like a
Amazing.
deep one. Like okay, you don't really see him for more than 5 seconds, but that's you know, sacrifice him immediately. He's clearly 19 and older.
Well, clear. We know the budget of this film already, right? So, like, who's to say that they didn't just get a bunch of adults on their knees, you know, pretending?
I mean, the other best kid is that girl in the church, Rachel. Like,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
and she's. I'm looking up that actress. Like, she was like 20 or 21 when they did this. So, like, yeah. So she's fully an adult, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense because that's like an actual performance.
She's making real choices.
Yeah,
Exactly. Speaking of choices, we're getting to the point where like he who walks behind the row starts to become more prominent in the story, and apparently in the short story, it's more of like a literal creature.
Yes.
And instead we get like, you know, nothing. I feel like he walks behind the row is such a disappointment in this film. Yeah,
it's just like a cloud, and then it possesses Isaac. So like we see him with like some like demon makeup on, but like yeah, it's nothing.
And then they explode.
I liked it when he was on the cross, right, and he's like shouting and stuff. But when he explodes because of he walks behind the row, I really wish that he turned into just a pile of popcorn.
That would have been great.
There should have been more popcorn. That would, you know, they're gonna be fun, trying to make funny jokes here. That would have been funny.
Well, also like it's called Children of the Corn. How many times do we see corn cobs in this movie? Not enough, in my opinion.
Nope. Just standard your stalks. That's it.
You get the stalks. You don't even get people like eating it all that much. Like, what are we doing here? There should be like a moment where like a kid shoves a corn cob through an adult's head. Like that just is exactly what this movie's asking for.
Maybe they'll do that in the third one. I know that one's done by Screaming Mad George.
Some people theorize that Randall Flagg is he who walks behind the road.
He calls himself that in The Stand.
Oh, okay, he does.
But like,
So it's just canon at that point.
so like
So
he
he
just,
he should have just shown. It should have just been Randall Flagg showing up in the movie.
I mean, yeah, why not? This was around that kind of stuff, right? So, um, and just fucking and flaw kids, just like he would. That's his very,
It's his
very.
MO.
It's his mo, yeah. But oh god, it's gonna be so boring. They're like, you're right. 45
There's
minutes.
literally a point where Bert says to Vicky, "Things aren't moving fast enough." I thought he was pointing to the director or to us, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right, Bert. Let's speed it up."
Come on, pick up the pace. It's because there is nothing really to rest on but these interpoliticking things that are going on. But after a certain point, you just know that Malachi is going to try to do his overthrowing, and Isaac is such a wimp that you know that he's going to get his comeuppance. So when there is that twist that like, oh, Isaac's back and he's back for Malachi, right? Like it's supposed to be this big thing where it's like, oh, all evil will be crushed, but it doesn't feel that way. It just feels like, you know, a cheap 80s horror movie.
All right, and so they're driving through the empty town. They're driving, and then get to the diner. Nothing happens. It's like the worst playthrough of a survival horror game, like some sort of mumblecore fucking ass game, like you get on Steam.
This is
Yeah.
like playing like Silent Hill 2, but you have all the puzzles like on a walkthrough, right? So you're just
Yes.
kind of like walking up to the things and you're solving them rather than going
And,
through all the stuff. to
no
get the answers.
enemies, no encounter version.
Yeah. The worst encounter you get throughout the entire thing is you do get stabbed, but and then you get chased, but because you're an adult, you're just faster than the kids, so you're able to run away.
I mean, I could have used more of that here because that is funny when he goes into the church and they try and grab him and he just like shoves them away. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a full grown man. So
I do like how chipper that one guy is. Like, it's my birthday.
yeah, that is a little unnerving of just like how happy he is.
Mhm. And they clearly do a good job at making him seem a little older than everybody else with that 5 o'clock shadow and
He's
stuff.
big.
He's a big guy. He's the biggest Malachi.
And he's always got his shirt off and he's got like, you know, it seems like definition, you know, like he's got some muscles on him. So they did a good job in terms of that kind of concept of a character. I feel like they don't do enough with that concept of that character specifically.
I mean,
But
that's so late when they give you like, yeah, 19, you gotta go. And I was like, oh, that would have been a thing we could have focused on instead of these boring adults or something. I don't know. Like maybe have the POV of someone who's about to be 19 and isn't stoked about it or is conflicted, you know? Like that could be an interesting end.
why isn't that Job?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, you just fucking blew my mind here. Okay, I was going to mention this because the one thing I have this movie, right? So you have like, oh, no one's heard of Gatlin anymore. Gatlin's kind of like, you know, become mystified. No one, like, it's not on the map anymore. You know, shit like that. It's only been like 3 years.
Yeah,
Right.
maps don't. How often do they get updated? Like they weren't
Yeah.
adding new towns yearly. So
So Children of Corn really should have been like set like 30 years after. You know?
yeah,
Yes,
like that.
totally.
And in the short
100%.
story, it's like 10 years.
Makes sense.
So in the short story, it's before Isaac. There's this other guy there's another little kid who set off the revolution. He was a Khomeini 0.0. Okay,
Right.
and it's been 10 years, and he's already died. He already sacrificed himself into the corn. He became 19. He sacrificed himself, and so now there's Isaac because Isaac is the second one in the short story. And so yeah, there's been like several generations, and then they come across, and so like now there's all like 28 years later for little kids, you know, something like that.
And then you can have the freakiness of like, how did these kids continue this community without? You don't need to directly answer. Yeah, they were impregnating each other, but the implication is there, which is very
Exactly.
disturbing.
Yeah,
You
so
don't
like,
need to
like
lay all
3
your cards.
years. It's because why do we? Who cares about Sarah or Job that much? We're like, oh, we gotta make sure it's still quick enough for them to be around.
They don't feel like they're in danger ever. Like they're playing Monopoly and Malachi.
They're breaking all the
catches
rules.
them, and he's like, yeah, they had music and games. But Isaac's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, he's like, they're my slaves. They're my slave labor. Like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And another thing too is that, like, yes, there is that time jump, but like because this movie is cheap and because they didn't want to recast anybody, they all just look the same. Like it just
Yes.
looks like nobody's aged. And like when a kid is 8 and they turn 11, that's a
There's
big jump,
difference.
right? Like that's not, you can't
That's
just
not
have like
nothing.
an 8-year-old who's just is still an 8-year-old.
It almost makes you think they're immortal until you get to the kid who's 19, where you're
No,
like,
no,
oh, they do age. Okay.
No, it's even worse than that, Doug. It makes you feel as though like there wasn't a time jump. It makes you feel as if like the parents were killed, and then like Linda Hamilton and her boyfriend are just pulling up into town right afterwards. And I feel like that's just such a big mistake with this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, the only other reference to that is she picks up like a magazine or something. She's like, "This is from 3 years ago." It's like, okay, oh right, that was 3 years ago.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh.
Would have been way better if it was like, this was from 3 decades ago.
Yes, 30 years ago. Ooh.
The perfect Children of the Corn movie is Michael Haneke's The White Ribbon. Have you guys seen that one?
Nope.
No.
So that movie is about it's like World War I era Germany, and it's about how like all of the German officers and stuff, their children will become the Nazis. So it's like all of these kids with fuck vibes kind of thing. It's like how do you raise the generation that becomes fascists?
Mhm.
And I feel like that film does such a better job in terms of like there is something severely wrong with our children than this film does, even with having kids literally murdering parents.
I agree. But also, yeah, I know. Again, part of the scene, Vicky gets kidnapped. Corn has destroyed the car somehow. But also, we see Sarah's drawing of Vicky getting kidnapped right after she gets kidnapped. They don't.
Thanks, Sarah.
That was crazy how she saw that. I don't. Yeah.
I'm glad
Whatever.
I'm glad we figured out after it happened, so we could get the mass tension here. But then yeah, they decide to crucify Vicky and decide not to.
Because they could use her as like a pawn to get the Burt, and it's just, yeah.
Question not my judgment, Malachi, says Isaac.
Doesn't he say like he says like question not my judgment, Malachi, like I am the one, like something like he's always like super verbose, like I am the one who is in control, like he's like so petulant.
I am
I
the
am
one who not.
Yeah.
Yes. I am the giver of his word.
Mhm. Love it, but he's the only thing that's like keeping me interested through this.
Yes, he's a very fascinating little dude. Isaac the character. He's a grown man. The actor is a grown man. I'm not calling the grown man a little dude. I'm calling the
Yeah.
actor, calling Isaac the character, who is
Right.
like 15.
Really, yeah.
The character is, or
I think so. He's like to me
Yeah.
like I think it's like 11, 12. And I don't think like a bunch of people are gonna be like, oh, we're gonna listen to an 8-year-old, in the middle of the fucking woods.
Did you guys ever see the reality TV show Kid Nation?
Yes, I did.
no.
Yeah, that's another thing that's better than Children of the Corn.
Yeah. They totally put those kids over.
Doug,
Christ.
do you know what it is or no?
No, what is it?
Okay, so imagine like Survivor, right? But it's like they got like 40 children, and they
Put them in a ghost town.
They put them in a ghost town, and then they're just like, you got to run it. Like you got to prepare your own food. You got to like clean up your own living quarters and stuff.
People have to open up lines of shipping.
Yep, it's insane. Like
How
stuff like
many
that.
children died?
I think
Not enough.
Well, one like had a panic attack in the first episode and had to leave.
Jesus.
A few of them did leave, and like there's a reason why they never made another season, but that one season is a
why.
very entertaining season of television.
I watched it when it came out. It was crazy. Also, one thing I want to say, here's the part right where we're saying, okay, everyone who turns 19 has to kill themselves, and he goes to the church. All of the stuff in the church has been defaced to be corn themed.
That's true.
Yeah, like all the Jesus has given like corn hair and like Joker makeup for like the leaves.
and it's all done with like magazine cutouts, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a good touch because it feels like kids would do that, but it also feels like the movie around it isn't supporting that decision. Like I feel like that decision is almost better.
It's very
than every other
profane,
decision.
but
Yeah.
the movie is so tame. So it's like it has no aim toward actually interrogating or delving into that kind of degeneracy. Like these kids
Because
are so boring. They're like
you
told me
don't
that-
see any other like set design like that throughout the town. So like it does feel out of place.
Yeah, these kids should be real freaks, but they're not.
This should feel like the last like 20 minutes of The Witch, right? Like where Satan is in control, everything is
Yeah.
falling apart, right? Like that's what it should be, but instead it just feels like a bunch of like kids bumbling around. And apparently they've been running this thing for 3 years. Like I'm shocked.
That's kind of like the interesting part about Malachi's performance and the whole Outlander line, because even just the way that scene is shot, it does feel like very ramshackle of like,
Yes.
you're just making this shit up as you go, which is like the commentary on like their leadership of like that they don't know what they're doing. But like in terms of the filmmaking itself, doesn't feel like
The Village.
what it's doing.
It's like The Village.
Oh
know,
no.
Like in a way, like The Village. That's one of the best parts of it. Everyone's like, oh, everyone talks so stupid and stilted in The Village. But like that's kind of the point, like they're doing a play acting of an accent, and like they're being overly verbose because they're role playing, and so it's like not natural in a
Right.
very real sense. And it kind of feels like that, but it's like not that intentional. And it just
Right.
feels like really stilted screenwriting. But that's part of the charm, I think. The underlying charm is that it's kind of like The Village. And what makes The Village work, so he's kind of works here. The Outlander stuff and Isaac's performance. And that whole part where like the roof is like, oh, you shall be punished, heretic, or whatever she says in the church. It's great. It's great stuff.
Mhm.
And then he decides to pwn these woke 17-year-olds. Thing like
Tries to own them with facts and logic.
yeah, it's like and like, oh, you mean where was it written? Here, your Bible. He throws it aside, and everyone clapped. Our atheism.
It does feel like a Ricky Gervais stand-up special whenever it's doing this stuff.
Yeah, are you like he cast aside the Bible and he's like, you believe this book? Really? So
well, that was the most interesting part, was because then at least it hinted he had a point of view, like if he was an atheist. But then later, when he's like, any religion without love is false. So I'm like, so wait, what do you believe?
He believes that Kaliman's like leadership is unjust. He needs to take him down. There needs to be a regime change.
Yeah, but you're right. He does just punch these kids out of the way. It's hilarious. He's like a mile ahead of them. There's no tension here.
No,
ever.
It's all
at
during
any
the day.
point. Until it isn't. Like it's night at the very end when he walks behind like is summoned, but like yeah, that's
Do you think it's labor laws? Do you think it's because they couldn't
Yes,
shoot the kids
they
at
couldn't
night?
shoot at
Right?
night. They could
I
not
think
shoot at night.
100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
Then-
That's what it has to
yeah,
be.
do dusk for night then. I mean, day for dusk then. Let's put some filters on here. No one's gonna care. I'm not gonna care.
Or
Yeah,
go
it's so
go
bright.
to some Eastern European country that doesn't give a fuck.
No,
Real estate labor.
no. What was it? The Twilight Zone movie was this year too, right? Like,
Oh
my
we don't need to
God.
do that.
Damn.
You know what? Children of Corn, morally upright movie.
Yep, by comparison, for sure.
These kids had fun. They were getting exercise. It probably ate corn.
Oh, hopefully they were seeing more corn than we were.
Yeah, you know what? I would hope they didn't go to waste. Just wash it, boil it. You got yourself a stew.
Mhm. Put some butter on it and salt. Maybe some more pepper too. Like come on. You're
Anyway, this chase scene is so long for no reason. This movie,
There's a lot of filler in this movie. Like
is a
every
tight
time
lady.
when they're like walking around the town and they're just like looking on the walls for like Sarah's pictures and like all of the empty like storefronts, like they go on for minutes at a time, and it's like we get it. Like you didn't have to do this for this long.
So that's what I'm wondering. Like, why was I such a bored kid? I remember just being like, "Oh, that's nice. It's decent," but like,
I mean,
I-
kids running around with machetes and sickles. There's something to that visual. It's just the movie doesn't have any juice to follow that up.
Exactly. And also like you probably watched it with some television breaks with advertise
Yes,
like and stuff
probably.
like Doug, you already called this a hangout movie kind of, right? Like this
Yeah.
just makes so much sense in terms of like
It's just
you put
having
it on
something
the
on,
TV. Exactly. You put it on the TV, you're walking around, maybe you're walking in the kitchen and then coming back,
and
like
by the
this is a
time you
great
back,
movie.
something's happening.
Exactly. Or you hear something's happening. You hear the score pipe up again. By the way, the score is all right. I'd
It's
say the
not,
score's
yeah, no,
fine.
the theme is pretty good.
Mhm.
Oh, it's so good.
Like,
It's like very Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
mhm.
That's what I mean. Like, this is a satanic cult. Like, this should feel epic. Like, the music is trying to make it feel epic, and then we go back to like the longest chase ever. Like, they're never in any danger. The kids have a fallout shelter.
Oh my!
Oh
It-
yeah.
why is that
They
there?
they patch up Bert, so he's fine now. He's not bleeding to death or anything. Leonard Hamilton doesn't get crucified, so at this point, it's all teenagers and 40-year-old extras. All the littler kids have gone. So you're right, definitely labor law thing. Because right now the sun is setting at this point in the movie, and there's no more little kids in sight at all.
That's so funny. I love it when it's transparent like that. That's awesome.
Like there's like 40 kids chasing after all of them, and now there's like 10.
They had to go to bed.
Mhm.
They don't want to get sued. They don't have the insurance money to do that.
All the youngest looking 20-year-olds they had lying around had to be there that night, like
Exactly.
cancel their schedules, whatever great advertisement that they were almost booking that night, they have to push it back.
So barn, sun is setting, what we mentioned, and Bert's like, I'm gonna blow up their out. So they call it gasohol, and we know gasohol is like the legit term for it. But then Bert is like, that's a distillery. So like, were they getting drunk? Were these kids like drinking their fuel?
That would have been
I-
interesting.
Yeah, that's a better movie for sure, right? Because if we're also talking about this from the perspective of like a fascistic rule or something, the idea of like nullifying the masses with entertainment or substance abuse, that's in check, right? That
The
makes sense.
Nazis always had substances around. They were getting
Yeah.
fucked up all
You
the
can
time.
buy meth over the counter, Like, so it totally makes sense.
These are so old. The people are so old in the scene where they're finally letting that guy kill himself. They're all so old.
Yeah, they should all be walking into the cornfield.
Like this guy is like, I'm so glad that I think it's his girlfriend. Is Ruth his girlfriend? I don't know. If she's like is she just a nun type, or is she like his girlfriend?
They definitely have like a Handmaid's Tale thing going on with the women too, or the girls in this movie too, right? Like they're all wearing like the same kind of old fashioned dresses, and then the guys are kind of in like Amish gear.
Right.
So yes, no. So Bert's like, I'm gonna blow it up. And poor Isaac is crying on the cross. He's very Jesus-like. So he's really the real hero. No one even
Yeah.
returns. Easter.
He suffered the most.
We should watch. We should skip the 6 for Easter. Let's just, celebrate his return.
Yeah, it
We
wasn't.
should come back. We should come back in 3 days and record the episode on that.
Yeah. Poor Isaac. He's crying. He's doing like he didn't deserve this.
Father, why have you forsaken me?
Exactly it. It's a very religious movie. It's like Last Temptation almost.
The Scorsese should have done this. That would have been.
Yeah. Why not? Anyway, he gets negative zoned. Filtered, and becomes possessed.
He enters the "Take on Me" music video.
Exactly too.
Yeah, it's a fun effect. I mean, I don't know.
I wish there was a monster. Apparently, they were trying to design a monster, and then they just ran out of time. Like they were just like,
When you see the ground moving, I got excited because I was like, "Oh,
Tremors?
Something's about to come up out of the ground. It's a graboid." Yeah, but no, nothing.
It's just a filter. That's it. A filter comes up. Anyway, they have the longest Billy Jack rip-off fight scene.
Amazing.
With Malachi.
I'm so glad you invoked Billy Jack.
I mean, that's the first thing. Who doesn't think of that when you're seeing two guys just grapple in the middle of a circle? He just backhands Malachi like 5 times. So good.
And I love too that like at that point in the movie, you could really tell that nobody gave a fuck because there are certain sound effects that are just missing. Like there are certain moments where he's supposed to be slapping him and you just don't hear it in that moment. It's just perfect.
To the point where I'm confused if there was any impact or not. Where I'm like,
Yep.
what did he do to him?
But yeah, no, Bert is just hurting these little kids. He should go to jail.
Yeah. Like I don't care if he's justified. He's still slapping around a bunch of kids.
They have a
You know,
little
it's kinda
kid in
weird.
there. They have a little kid decomposing in their fucking car.
Yeah.
they're
Why
like,
didn't they give a burial?
We gotta report this to the cops. Like I think the cops are gonna arrest you the first time you say we have a little kid in our trunk.
I mean,
It's
they're
not-
gonna forget about it and then get pulled over, and the cops would be like, "What is this back here?"
No,
Can
Don't
I also love like the idea of after this movie too. It's like they drive into the next town over. Officer, we accidentally hit this kid yesterday, and he's been sitting in our car for a full day, and then we came to you. Oh, what delayed you? We had to beat up a bunch of other kids. Like,
there was a kid Colt. We had to fucking fuck him up.
Yeah, I punched this guy like 10 times.
you missed it. So many children died. Like,
Also,
it's
my
just gonna sound
girlfriend wants to adopt these kids, I think.
Also, Cedric also did the funnier thing where he's like, "I'm not getting my tubes tied." At the end, like, fuck it, and that's so much better.
Yeah, because they're so cheerful at the end. It's like the end of a Saturday morning cartoon episode or something.
They start walking off while the credits start rolling. It's so sitcom-y.
You're free now. You know, you're free from religious oppression, right? And it's this idea that like all you need to do is just like remove that. But like it's something that I think Doug you had brought up earlier, right? At the end, we know the demon's real, right? It's this thing that I've brought up on other podcasts too, where it's like, you know, if you're in this position where it's true that like theology exists, that at that point that should change the way you live your life forever.
Yeah,
You now know that there is a heaven or hell and that there are these kinds of rules, right? So it's very bizarre that it does then go, oh, well, let's move on. You know, like I don't know if anyone could move on after this.
you know, if Bert was atheist, that would have been a very funny thing for him to confront. But he's not. He's just a rage baiter.
I mean, kind of like Indiana Jones doesn't seem to believe in anything mystical, and then at the end of Raiders, he's like sees divine. I mean, he doesn't look at it directly, but divine. He's in the presence of a divine power, and that's like a cool arc.
And then he decides to still be a man whore. So
as he's allowed to, he hadn't met Carissa Flockhart, right? You know, where you would then settle down.
So you know, we all hope for the best, but he's going to hell. He should have stayed in the pagan past. You know,
just like everybody else in this movie, right?
So then Bert gets beat up by the corn.
That's when I was like, "Oh fuck, are we about to see like Evil Dead level? Like he's just get violated by the corn?"
He just
like,
punches him in the face. It's great.
Yeah,
it's like okay, it's probably the second favorite part of the movie. He just gets punched by it. Just literally just punching him. But it lasts like 5 seconds.
It's a little too little too late moment. You know, you're
Sam
like,
Raimi should remake it. Like now, he should just do it now.
Rachel McAdams, come back, right?
Yes.
Like that'd be great.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, why not? It's a funny enough concept. Why not?
And Raimi's never done a King thing. Yeah, that'd be good.
It'd be so...
and they should cast Bruce Campbell as Isaac.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, they use the sprinkler system to throw around all the kid moonshine to burn down the cornfield.
Travesty. The moonshine didn't do anything wrong to anybody.
No, the kids drinking in celebration. Job well done.
Exactly.
But
yeah, now I'm just picturing the kids like Joaquin Phoenix in the Master level plastered.
like the kids from the other town over are like throwing shit at them as they're like drunk on the like hanging out, you know.
Anyway, so it explodes, Tower of Light. There's an evil, angry demon face in the cloud, just like the end of The Car. This is a great film. This is not like The Car, though. and then suddenly people can wear skirts again. The revolution is over.
Pre-revolution Iran, we freed them.
Exactly.
Rise up. We've completely dismantled them.
This is dedicated to all the Gatlin fighters. The brave Gatlin fighters of Nebraska.
I think what we're saying with constantly referring back to the Iran conflict in relation to this film is that, like, even as a metaphor for like the Iran regime, I feel like it's very two-dimensional.
It is.
Like
Yeah.
like if you're going to take that metaphor like at its face value, it's putting all of the onus on religious
People.
suppression, right? And also the people, right? And religious suppression is the issue because it's an arm of like class division, right?
Mm.
And rather than talking about class division, like in the sense maybe where like Sarah and Job could be like, well, we're working on the field all day and all Isaac is doing is talking, right? Like that would have been a more interesting movie, right? That would have talked more about the idea of, in quotation, regime change. Instead, what we get is just like the adults of enter the room, right, and sort it all out, right? So I think the thing that we're getting at here is that I think all of us agree that like the kids are the more interesting thing, and maybe they should have been the full focus of this rather than
The title
forcing the
is
adults in.
Children of the Corn, not
Right.
Boring Couple of the Corn. So
You're right, exactly. And also, Ruth gets the last scare, and so she's clearly deserved to kill Bert. It's kind of bullshit.
I was hoping she would, or hopefully they just knocked her out. So I hope she's like a presence in this, because I did like her performance. So I want to see her come back.
Then they
I
knock
also
her
feel
out.
the scythe too, right? Like she had the giant blade in the car, like
Like
Yeah.
the poster. Like the poster.
Mm-hmm. There wasn't enough violent imagery like that. Like they didn't have, like when they're chasing them through the town, it feels just like they're playing tag, right? There needed to be more imagery like this, where it was like, oh my god, I'm about to die because there's a kid right here with a scythe, right? Like it would have been cool.
I'm really curious how far the sequels go on the gore, or if it's that thing of like, well, no, this one's the template, so we need to hew as close to this as possible,
There could be
even though
no gore ever.
even though the way this was is like a mistake. So like they don't do they iterate or like not? I'm curious.
I don't remember the gore in the second one. I don't. But again, the third one I think has Scream and George doing shit for it. So it's gotta be. It's gotta be good. I'm holding out hope for that one.
I've read things online that like the real cornheads say that the third one is the best one. So I feel like if anything, that might be the one we're looking forward to the most. But like when it comes to the user scores on IMDb, right? I thought it was interesting to look because if you look, they each get progressively worse with each film, like consistently. So it's like as we get
It's
to the
Kevin
closest thing-
Yeager who did the special effects. Kevin Yeager. Why did I think it was
Oh,
Screaming
that's
at
pretty
George?
mad.
But like
Did
Kevin
he do
Yeager's still
any of
good.
them?
I think he did. I think he kind of did something. I don't think I screamed that up. Screaming Mad George.
I was looking up that movie, The Car. That looks good with James Brolin.
It is good. It's very fun. It's very fun.
The gas man from this Children of the Corn is in it too. RJ Armstrong is in the car.
Oh, that's where I remembered him from. Screaming. I think people seem to think he did it, but I don't see him associated with it. I've seen like other people reference that he's done Children of the Corn 3. Maybe
Interesting.
Okay, so that's a effects credited to Mad George. So Wikipedia has Kevin Yeager. A lot of people say Mad George. So I guess we'll find out.
We'll know by the touch in the film.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
There's the gooey grossiness and body flesh melting, then it's him. All right. But then it just ends. So they knock out Ruth, and then even before they stop talking, the word "the end" flashes on the screen.
It was so funny.
Crazy. It felt like they just ran out of footage. They were just like, "Oh, that's all we got." Good night, folks.
Not even a fade to black. Just the end, and they're still going.
And the score just starts blaring, and they do that thing where it's like the image is still going, and they've got the credits on the side of the screen, right? It's just like, oh, it feels like this is supposed to be like a cathartic moment, like, oh, the evil
release
is done, right?
Breathe easy.
But instead, it just feels like, oh, what? Okay, like imagining like you're at home, right, and like you're watching this on TV. Sorry, go ahead.
They lit that kid's body in the car.
Yeah, they just walk
You're
away
right.
from it. That kid's gonna be decomposed.
They're gonna get arrested because even if when the adults come back,
Yeah,
when the cops and everyone come back and they're like, "Oh, we get to town," you're gonna find that car with the kid in it.
yeah, they're gonna be like, "Do you own this kind of car?" Like
Found your
months
car.
later. Mhm.
We found a
Here.
child skeleton in your car.
we found a child skeleton in your car, and furthermore, this town has a bunch of missing adults who have seemingly also been killed off that nobody can account for. Just a bunch of children. Like there's a bunch of question marks, right? Like there's either it needs to be more silly or it needs to adhere to some kind of internal logic more. And what I keep on hearing from this original short story, Elvis, is that like it leans a lot more on the mysticism and the lore that Stephen King is constructing around this religious world. And I feel like that makes a lot more sense for the creepiness of what this is supposed to be, right? Versus, what other kind of adaptation they could have done with this.
Exactly. And I don't know. This has been it's like such a nothing thing. It's such a nothing. How long did it take us to get through it? It's our shortest one. If we ended it right now, it'd be our shortest episode yet.
For sure. And before we do, actually, I wanted to throw one more like big conversation point out there, right? I'm gonna read 7 movies to you, right? Here are the 7 movies: Carrie, Salem's Lot, The Shining, Creep Show, Cujo, The Dead Zone, and Christine, right?
Yeah.
Those were all of the Stephen King movies up until Children of the Corn.
Oh my
right?
God.
Wow.
Okay. So all the good ones.
Not even necessarily all the good ones. I'd say there's still more good ones to be had.
1408 hadn't even come out yet.
Exactly. Reading my mind, Doug. Reading my mind. But we can at least say that each of those films are at least quality to a degree that audiences still really love them. Like I'd say like the worst movie of the bunch is probably Cujo, but even then, like Cujo has like a thrilling enough ride feature to it, and a lot of people still love that movie.
And there's a cultural stickiness to that.
Yeah, like Killer Dog, right? Like Man's Best Friend Going Against You. There's not a lot of movies that do that well. But what I'm trying to get at here is that this was the movie, right? This was the breaking point in terms of like Stephen King's name being thrown onto whatever garbage that they wanted to make because they got the rights. Like this was the breaking point in terms of that. And to further put that in perspective, right? Other Stephen King movie that came out this very same year was Firestarter. Right. Just a big nothing burger there. And then 2 years from then, right, is when he makes Maximum Overdrive. The same year as
so that was his fault.
We're entering the rough years. We're entering the rough years is what I'm saying. And Children of the Corn is kind of like a demarcation of that. So much so that when the trailer for this movie came out, the first trailer, they misspelled Stephen King's name.
Wow.
This is a situation where like nobody truly cared and it was truly a cash grab. And my final argument for this is to say that like this is the first time that Stephen King's name was mined as an IP rather than just being like, here is these great stories that we're going to adapt based on an author.
Yeah, exactly. And no, you're right, because it's self-perpetuating. It's like, oh, the brand can sell anything. It becomes cynical in a way.
And then that's what happens with this franchise. It's just the name Children of the Corn, because they're not even to me, like I forgot that this was a Stephen King thing before we started covering it, because I just think of it as, oh, that horror franchise that went on way too long has so many like direct to video sequels. Like it just became an IP cash grab onto itself.
You know what?
Sorry, go ahead, Elvis.
Because who doesn't love little children like this? Oh, they're gonna kill us. Great.
I was gonna say like with something like Friday the 13th, right? Like that makes sense, right? Like people are going to the theaters and they're watching that, and Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, they're losing their minds, right?
But slashers are hot at that period, like how we're in a post-Halloween world, and those are hitting.
And what we get here instead is just like a mining of an IP because it can possibly meet that, but it doesn't even feel like so many people care about this. Like we talked about how this movie was successful. If this movie truly only really had like a $800,000 budget, this movie made $14 million, right? So like
Jeez.
they knew that they had to do something with this. They had to like keep it going, but I don't think that anyone would have expected that they would still be trying to wring this towel dry up till now.
Are we doing all the sequels and the remake by Kurt Wimmer? Who did
To be
the
fair,
remake?
that's a second remake. To be fair, there's still
Yes, Doug.
but
Okay.
yes, and so they remade twice in a row. Oh, no, not twice in a row. Sorry, they did this out of the way. So there's 2 remakes. So
Is it one of the remakes, the found footage one?
no, although I think that it was a that would have been no.
There was a 2019.
Oh, there was not. Oh, I'm mixing up franchises. There's no found footage Children of the
Same with the
Corn.
Diary of the Dead.
Probably. Yeah.
But yeah, no.
I was excited for some found footage in this.
This is a
series.
sci-fi original movie, basically,
Maybe that's what I was thinking.
and it's more accurate to the short story. Anyway, Children of the Corn. It hit.
Music's all right.
I know I might rewatch it again because now I'm hooked. I think you've got me hooked on this again. I love it again. It's so good. I'll
Get the butter on it now.
Exactly.
I think the goal for the end of this series is that, like there's that clip of those guys in the locker room and they're doing the Halo song, right?
Yeah.
In perfect harmony. We've got to do that with the Children of the Corn theme by the end of the series.
I'm gonna be pissed if they switch up the music because I'm gonna be like that
was the only good thing about this.
the one element you could have brought over.
I hate when
It'd be
that
really
happens.
funny if they like try to like modernize it over the years, right? Like they do like a rap version.
Yeah, hip hop remix. Hell yeah.
Kurt Wimmer should have, you should know the rules here.
I mean, come on, Kurt Wimmer, Equilibrium. Maybe they're gonna do Gunkata or something.
Oh, please. They do Scythe Kata. Right? Time slows down and they're slashing at each other. I hope that like there's more violence. Hope like just baseline.
Give me something.
Like situations where people are in danger, not where people are just kind of running around,
moseying around. Like, hey, I think we want to call 911 because of right, a kid got killed.
Doug, you brought up Silent Hill earlier, right?
Yeah.
This feels worse than Silent Hill. This feels like one of those like like PS2, PS1 era Japanese exclusive horror games that get like fans translations that just like are totally inconsistent and like there's a reason why it never crossed over kind of vibe, right? Like one of those kind of games where it's just all over the place and trying to be creepy but not really. That's what this is. That's what I'm expecting from this series going forward, but I'm also looking forward to that in a perverse way,
Yeah, I just want there to be something because to me there's like almost not I'm just like, how did this persist other than like, yeah, it made 14 million, but it's like, what is the iconic thing about it? Because like the poster, if you see like there's a scythe in the air being held by a kid and you see like
it's very communist, don't you think?
Yeah,
right.
Like there's something to that. Like even if you're not like intelligently interrogating that concept, just evoking that imagery has something, but there's not any of that in the movie. So I'm just curious, like, what is it that like makes these things keep going other than do they just keep somehow like making just enough to where you're like, I guess we gotta keep going.
It's a cool title. Children, Corn, alliterative.
I think you're right, Elvis, because like after a certain point, I don't think they were allowed to say they were a Stephen King film, right? Like I think that they had to say like after a certain point that he was like no more.
So it's just Children of the Corn. Yeah.
And I think that like Elvis, you're on the money in terms of just like Children of the Corn, right? Like that's a kind of classic structure for a title. It gives a lot of like
A lot of leeway.
importance to it. Yeah, and there's mystery to it, right? And it promises, we've talked about it a bit
Your
off mic.
staples.
The idea of creepy children in horror movies, right?
Mhm.
Like it's a time and honored tradition in terms of people doing it over and over again to get creepy kids. And I think that people think about like, oh, creepy kids in a town. That's the perfect setup for a horror movie. So, oh yeah, Children of the Corn, of course, it's a great series, right? But in
Let's look at some of these
actuality,
titles.
yeah, that's it.
Let's look at some of these titles. Hey, Final Sacrifice. Okay, whatever. Urban Harvest. Ooh, get it? Okay. Ooh, Urban
There's
Inner
gonna
City.
be black kids in this
Yeah.
one.
Harvest. Oh, see, like it's so
And
good.
Charlize Theron is in that one too.
No way. You're joking with me.
She is uncredited, but she is in the third movie.
Oh, you're right. Charlize Theron.
Uncredited Charlize. Wow.
Also, Nicholas Brendan as Basketball Player 1. He died. That's crazy.
R.I.P.
What are the other titles?
Like The Gathering, not that good. Fields of Terror.
Oh,
See,
now we're talking.
Isaac's Return, and then we got a bunch
Can't
of
wait.
random ones: Revelation, Genesis, and Runaway.
Yeah, Revelations and Genesis specifically is when it's going to get really rough. Is what I'll say. Is what I remember.
Runaway.
Wait, one of them's called Runaway? Oh, because I was gonna say that's the other part that I liked is there's the My Little Runaway is playing when they're listening to the music. So
Right.
yeah, I was like the score, and then I just like that song. So it's a fun needle drop. Even though I'm like they're not really trying to run away. So it's like the one kid tried it, and then they were just like, "Damn, I guess he didn't make it."
Ooh, Runaway
Now
has
he's in our trunk.
Runaway has a has a good hook. I guess, but I don't know. It's the last one of the pre Kurt Wimmer movies. So directed by John Gulager. Now you know you're getting something good of John Gulager.
I'm surprised that Albert Pune didn't direct any of these. Like with
That
all
would've
the
been-
stuff that he
that would've
directed,
been good.
right?
He played the assessor in Hellraiser Judgment. My God, John Gulager has had a career.
We're going to find so many of these character actors throughout this series, like people who are like on television shows with like bit parts that stood out. Like I feel like that's what's going to be like our stars after a certain point.
No. So I just want to get back to that. Okay, because you mentioned that. I want to get back to that. So the thing about this, we were talking about like why did Peter Horton play himself in the Naked Brothers Band movie? Because one of the producers and also the director of the Naked Brothers Band movie was his co-star on a sitcom around the same time.
Amazing. Amazing.
That's why he played himself.
Pulling a favor.
Like, oh man, we got. What's the context? Like, oh,
Don't ask me. I haven't seen the Naked Brothers Band movie.
Should should we to get a good overview of the Children of the Corn?
I'm
You know
just
what?
curious,
You're
like
right,
what
Elvis.
what sitcom was he on? We have to
It's
watch
called-
every
It was called 30 something apparently.
Well, now we got to watch that sitcom too, right?
all
Just like it's the,
however many episodes.
it's the
He
first
al-
thing on his Wikipedia. 30.
He also played Ray Nicolette in the Karen Sisko show. So he played a character who's also been played by Michael Keaton. That's
Interesting.
it's a high honor.
So that means that leads right into the White Noise retrospective that we'll have to do.
All right. Yeah, but so that's why they pulled a favor. But what's the context? Like, is there a Children of the Corn joke in the Naked Brothers Band movie?
Oh, I hope so. If in the Naked Brothers Band movie, I hope that Isaac returns and he kills them all.
Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. No, not just his co-star. She's Mrs. Naked Brothers. She's the mom of the Naked Brothers Band. Brothers.
She's the naked mother.
Yeah. But also they're illustrious Nat and Alex Wolf. They were Naked Brothers.
Really,
So-
Nat Wolf was a naked brother.
Alex and Nat, both of them were the Naked Brothers.
They were the brothers. It's
I
gotta
had
be
no
two.
idea.
But also,
I never watched it. Yeah.
That leads us back to another King connection. Nat Wolf was in The Stand, the CBS Plus
remake one.
series.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Same with Whoopi Goldberg.
So two degrees of separation. for Stephen
Whoopi
King.
Goldberg was in the most recent Stand.
Yes.
Right? Like what? And James Marsden, right?
Okay, yeah, James Marsden, Owen Teague, who was Noah from Kingdom Planet of the Apes, Alexander Skarsgård, Whoopi Goldberg, Amber Heard.
Yep. Was Imogen Poots in it? Am I remembering wrong?
No, I think you're thinking about Madeline
Yeah,
Petch.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fiora Doris was in it.
Oh, well, love her.
No, not Madison Petch. I'm being mistaken. It was Catherine McNamara,
Mm.
who looks like Madeline Petch a little bit.
That Stand remake series was
It's
so
terrible.
bland. It was
so bad.
so awful.
They did
Just the worst.
they did some bad stuff. I don't know why they decided like to put it out of order. So like it was anachromatic.
yeah.
And like this again, you ruin the tension. The whole point is like you're seeing the downfall of society, but like, oh, we're skipping back. Post-apocalypse, pre-apocalypse, post-apocalypse, pre-apocalypse. Who gives a shit?
And they remove a lot of what
The
mysticism and the clear Christian overt themes that were there in the book and the other adaptation. Like it feels like it's trying
So
to be
Skarsgård's flag, not like a mystical. He's just a guy, or
no. It keeps the mystical stuff, but
it does, but it plays it down a
so
lot.
it's very bland. It's like very
Mhm.
point blank about a lot of stuff, and it has a whole new epilogue where like so the end of the book is like, oh, Flag gets reincarnated. It's like start things over, but then like the episode written by King. It's that new epilogue for this first, just for that Stan miniseries you make, where Franny, the girl, the love interest, has a vision where she speaks to Flag for an entire episode, and he's like, "I'm going to get reincarnated and start us all over again, and you can't stop me." Blah 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 blah, and like but that's so much more boring than him just doing it, because it goes like a little stinger.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's been an entire episode on that, and it's so bad.
Just terrible. Who would have thought that getting the Fault in Our Stars guy would have been a bad idea?
The New Mutants guy, and I still say New Mutants got a bad rap.
Sorry, which one?
New Mutants. New Mutants.
Oh, New Mutants. No, New Mutants deserves the rap it gets. Unfortunately, I think that movie sucks.
And we just because they didn't get to finish shooting. Okay, they didn't get to finish shooting.
That's definitely a hindrance.
I will say that definitely hurts the movie. I would agree to that.
Anyway, so anything else about?
Oh no, I've got nothing else to say about
this.
We've been grasping at corn cobs all night.
I've got nothing left in the gas hall tank. All right. So Children of the Corn. I'm never gonna watch it again. I always have a little sauce over it, but as is now the running theme with these, I'm like veil shattered. Glass has been shattered. I'm never gonna watch this one again.
The mystique has been broken.
Exactly. Like the veil has been lifted. You've ruined another childhood memory, Tony. How dare you?
At least I'm not actively mad like after Merlin. Like Merlin made me upset.
I don't know if you saw. I know I mentioned it to Tony, but the guy, one of the co-writers of that show, replied to me.
Yeah, did he say like the next season they're still gonna use that shitty like framework narrative like that?
He basically implied it because I'm like, we skipped the entire stuff. Like we just haven't seen it yet. But like you already showed, you're already after all that. So to show it, you would have to do the whole thing.
And they're not getting a season 2. So what is he talking about?
I think it's really bold of them to still to show their face in public and to be like, yeah, we're still doing it. Like as if they didn't just take a shit on the floor.
Everyone else has moved on. None of those actors are like holding space in case like they get picked up again. Like they're just like, yeah,
Brett Cooper is gone from the Daily Wire.
Brett Cooper died. So
yeah, but also
Ghost might show up. I don't know.
Also just to put in perspective too, like Candace Owens was still with them when they were making this. It's been so long since they had made the first season. Like if they started making production on the second season now, right? Like should we expect it in 2 years? Right? Is the Daily Wire still going to be around in 2 years? Have you seen Ben Shapiro's YouTube numbers? They're going down the toilet. Daily Wire is going the way of the dinosaurs.
But you know
So
what?
you're
I thought
saying they're not going to be the conservative A24, which is
Unfortunately not.
Tyler
No.
Sheridan is the conservative A24. Let's be honest.
Yes, that is true. And Sylvester Stallone is trying to start something up again. And the real answer is also Dallas Saulnier, who is seemingly moving away from working on these Daily Wire films and is working again with S. Craig Zoller. So I feel like at least we're going to get some more of those in there, and we can get some actually good conservative
I was going
movies.
to say
for a
those
bit.
are like real movies. So
Yeah, and like at least at that point we can be like, okay, we can have a couple of those before they go back to making like hateful dumb schlock that we can just laugh at and everybody else ignores.
100%. Well, no. But I thought it was funny because I'm so like these competent showrunners don't know what they're doing, but doing it out of order and skipping stuff. And he's like, "Well, we actually didn't skip it." So like, you didn't. So like, I guess he agrees then. About
he
the other
didn't
stuff.
dispute the incompetent part. He's like, hey, wait a minute.
We didn't skip it.
I'll take issue with that specific part and nothing else.
What a chode.
Well, they can't disprove the incompetent part, so they can show scripts of that they weren't going to skip those things. They're like, hey, look, we were going to cover it.
Get me in court for defamation. I'll be like the new Afro Man. Okay.
I want you to go in there and ask Jeremy Boring for Discovery. That's all I want. You know,
No, I need to see the pre-production notes here. what went wrong when? But anyway, we're not even talking about Children of Corn anymore. So let's get going. All right, so let's round it up here. Any last thoughts at all?
I'm just interested where this is going, like, because like it's not like it's a movie that like leaves you with like you're like, yeah, there was a real demon and they like throw a thing at it and get rid of it, but I guess you just be like, it just keeps coming back and the cult resurfaces. It seems like this is gonna have to be a franchise that resets a lot because like there's not like stuff laying on the board where you could be like, oh well, now I need to know what happens to Job and Sarah. You know, like I don't give a shit. So
I've never seen again.
I feel like they're just going to rely on He Who Walks Behind the Row. And I think the best thing about this movie is that He Who Walks Behind the Row was so disappointing here that they're probably going to go a lot more schlocky in the other ones. Like, I imagine we're going to see a monster. I imagine we're going to see different kinds of monsters to depict that kind of creature. And I'm excited to see the variants and the attempts to do that on different budget levels. But when it comes to like the interpersonal politics of children in a town trying to operate, I feel like it's going to be a hilarious crapshoot of bad acting the entire time, and I'm excited for that. You know, this is going to be a good time. And I'm sorry, Elvis, that you didn't like this movie as much as like a childhood favorite. I believe that, like, you know, give it some time. You're going to come back to it. You're going to appreciate it as a comfort movie still.
I need some. I think I'll need like a little bit in me first before.
Fair.
I'll need a Gasol martini.
I think after all these other sequels, you might look back. You're like, they were doing something here.
They'll be stream all over again. And we're like, damn it, they lost the magic. But yeah, no. Let's move on. I will say though, I have seen the second one. I saw the second one a couple years ago. One of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
The final sacrifice, and it's not the final sacrifice. Don't call number 2. Don't put final in your second one.
You clearly want to be a franchise, so why are you trying to kill it at the very top of the franchise you're trying to build? All right.
Yeah.
So let's know where you can find it, Tony.
Yeah, there it is. That's me, poor old Rolo Tony on Twitter. You can find me also on These Guys Got Juice, the show I co-host with Doug Files. Then I'm going to be coming up on some other stuff very shortly. I'll just leave it there. You know, I feel like we're running it out. Take it away, Doug.
All right. So,
Doug. Yeah, here I am. Like Tony said, you can find us on These Guys Got Juice. We've been doing a lot of cool stuff there. We just rounded out our Matt Johnson coverage. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, I believe will be out on digital next week, if what I was reading online was correct. So yeah, buy it, watch it, listen to our episode on all his movies. We're also doing weekly pit coverage. And we've been having some cool guests on. We've had Jared Gilman from Moonrise Kingdom, who's becoming a regular on the show. So like, yeah, tune in for all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and tune in next time as we talk about the final sacrifice. Which is like, what if Children of Corn and Firestarter, especially the racist parts, had a baby?
Oh no, I've never seen Firestarter. I didn't know there were racist.
We
You don't need to. You don't.
George C. Scott is like in brown face, and he's like, "My name is Windbreaker."
Oh
It
god.
is so bad. It is
Oh
such
my,
a bad movie.
it's a bad story too. I mean, to be honest,
Mhm,
Stephen King, man, what were you thinking?
mhm. Even Zac Efron couldn't save it.
Yes, and they actually got someone who wasn't in brown face for that one to play. What
I'll
was his name?
just rewatch what's the Kirk Douglas movie with the psychics where they're like in a school, The Fury.
Yes, you're talking about the Brian De Palma movie. That movie's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good
Mhm.
movie.
Anyway, but yeah, well, I'm excited for it, and we'll talk about it next time. And let's
Hell yeah.
let's all get out of here. Or the children come for us. Right.
We who
Make
Yeah.
walk behind the
tree
road.
beat.
All right. What I found, it's been so long. We've missed a week. And I forget what the fucking end